Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ALDINA ROSITA AFRIANA, and I'm part of Class L of Critical Reading class. And today I will review 3 questions of yesterday midterm. I will answer it and give you my reason why I choose that answer. So enjoy watching. A year after he had come to live with them, Mr. and Mrs. Moran suddenly gave up the violet nights. Pemberton had got used to sadness, having seen it practiced on a considerable scale during 2 jerky little tours, one in Switzerland the first summer and the other late in the winter, when they all ran down to Florence and then at the end of the days, liking it much less than they had intended, straggled back in mysterious depression. They had returned to Nice forever, as they say, but this didn't prevent their squeezing, one rainy muggy May night, into a second-class railway carriage. You could never tell by which class they would travel, where Pemberton helped them to stow away a wonderful collection of bundles and bags. The explanation of this maneuver was that they had determined to spend the summer in some bracing place, but in Paris they dropped into a small furnished apartment of foot in a third-rate avenue, where there was a smell on the staircase and their portiere was hateful, and passed the next 4 months in black indians. The better part of this forced temporary stay belonged to the tutor and his pupil, who, visiting the infidels and Notre Dame, the conciergerie, and all the museums, took 100 rewarding rambles. They learned to know their Paris, which was useful, for they came back another year for a longer stay, the general character of which in Pemberton's memory today mixed pitiably and confusedly with that of the first. He sees Morgan's shabby knickerbockers, the everlasting pair that didn't match his blouse and that, as he grew longer, could only grow faded. He remembers the particular holes in his or three or four pairs of colored stockings. Morgan was dear to his mother, but he never was better dressed than was absolutely naturally or partly, no doubt by his own fault, for he was as indifferent to his appearance as a German philosopher. "My dear fellow, so are you. I don't want to cast you in the shade." Pemberton could have no rejoinder for this. The assertion so closely represented the fact. If, however, the deficiencies of his own wardrobe were a chapter by themselves, he didn't like his little chart to look too poor. Later he used to say, "Well, if we are poor, why after all should not we look it?" And he consoled himself with thinking there was something rather elderly and gentlemanly in Morgan's disrepair. It differed from the intelligence of the urchin who plays and spoils his thing. He could trace perfectly the degrees by which, in proportion as her little son confined himself to his tutor for society, Mrs. Moran stoutly forbore to renew his garment. She did nothing that didn't show, neglected him because he escaped notice, and then, as he illustrated this clever policy, discouraged at home his public appearance. Her position was logical enough. Those members of her family who did show had to be showy. During this period and several others, Pemberton was quite aware of how he and his comrade might strike people, wandering loudly through the jardins, the plates, as if they had nowhere to go, sitting on the winter days in the galleries of the Louvre, so patently ironical to the homeless, as if for the advantage of the steam radiators. They joked about it sometimes. It was the sort of joke that was perfectly within the body's compass. They figured themselves as part of the vast vague hand-to-mouth multitude of the enormous city and pretended they were proud of their position in it. It showed them such a lot of life and made them conscious of a democratic brotherhood. If Pemberton could not feel a sympathy in this situation with his small companion, for after all Morgan's fond parents would never have let him really suffer, the boy would at least feel it with him. So it came to the same thing. He used sometimes to wonder what people would think they are, to fancy they were looked askance at, as if it might be a suspected case of kidnapping. Morgan wouldn't be taken for a young patrician with a tutor. He was not smart enough. Took he might pass for his companion stickly little brother. Now and then he had a 5 francs piece, an expert watch, when they had bought a couple of lovely necklaces, one of which he made Pemberton accept. They laid it out scientifically in old books. This was sure to be a great day, always spent at the used book stand on the quays, in a rummage of the dusty books, the garnish, the parapets. Such occasion helped them to live, for their books ran low very soon after the beginning of their acquaintance. Pemberton had a good many in England, but he was obliged to write to a friend and ask him kindly to get some fellow to give him something for them. So this is the question of the yesterday's midterm. Number 13. The primary purpose of the passage is to, and my answer is A. It recounts an outsider's impression of an old family. And my reason is because the tutor, who is not related to the Morans and is therefore an outsider to the group, is telling the story of his relationship to his unusual family. And the second question, number 17. The tone of Morgan's speech to his tutor, a third underlined passage, can be described as. My answer is C. Teasing. In telling his tutor that he does not wish to outshine him or cast him in the shade by dressing better than he does, Morgan is definitely teasing Pemberton. And the last is number 19. According to fifth underlined passage, Miss Moran most likely kisses to spend money on new clothing for Morgan because. And my answer is E. She has only enough money to buy clothes for the family members who must appear in polite society. My reason is because Miss Moran doesn't spend money for new clothes for Morgan because he does not make public appearance, that is, does not appearance in polite society. She does spend money on new clothes for the family members who move in the polite cycles. She loves Morgan and does not neglect him intentionally. This suggests that she has only enough money to buy clothes for the family members who must appear in a polite society. So that's all. My answer, and my reason why I chose that answer. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, please drop on the comment section. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.